Welcome back, everyone, to the Dota 2 Dreamhack Invitational. Sorry to disappoint Bruno and Scriff, and you guys will find out probably why here in a second. But we have a couple of stats to talk about. Of course, we have to talk about potential game number 3, or I shouldn't even say potential, but game 3 coming up between Fnatic and Alliance here in just a second. So, Bruno, take us through the stats.
Yeah, let's go. This time we're talking about a player. And the player we're talking about today, because we pretty much ran out of players during the tournament, we're talking about pretty much everyone. We're talking about Aki, the support / jungler for Team Alliance. As you can see, he has been always renowned as a very, very good Chen player.
Yep.
Did he play Chen the first game? I think he did.
NoTidehunter.
No, NoTidehunter.
No, NoTidehunter wasn't Chen, right? Fnatic. He played the Venomancer though.
Yep.
He played the Venomancer right there. I mean, of course, none of his heroes have a huge, very huge or impressive kill average.
Look at his assist average on Crystal Maiden.
Oh, he's really good at that.
Holy.
Unfortunately, Crystal Maiden no longer part of the meta game.
Pretty much.
People saying the aura's weak. Of course, she's really, a really strong level 2 and even level 5 and 7 if you skill out of their nukes. But anyways, we still have all the standard heroes and a big presence. And one thing that we can say about Aki is that even if he's really, really good at a couple heroes, he can pretty much play whatever kind of support you throw their way, and he'll be pretty consistent in that. So one of the cornerstones of the team.
He's not really the star player, he doesn't shine, but he's always stable.
Yes, and also he knows Loda for who knows how much.
Forever?
Yeah, forever.
Roughly.
They were born together. Twins separated at birth. So these guys don't even have to communicate probably.
It's horrible.
Just know how to go. And having said that, because we don't have much more to say, Scriff will be moving to his observing slot and we will be starting the game, aren't we?
Game number 3. I started it. The players have been really patient with us today, so we've had an opportunity to be like, okay, you know what? Yeah, well, everyone's been patient. It's been a test of patience, you could say.
I've been patient.
Yes.
Shut up. Anyway, we're going to get into the game here in just a second, assuming everybody actually loads. We're still waiting on Trixie and Hani to get in, but it's potential game 3, Wet Boss. You think maybe Fnatic should have applied a little bit more pressure last game?
Not just maybe,
or
not just a little, just a lot of pressure, because they kind of let the Phantom Lancer get to the point where even though Era did a lot of damage, he was still so easily kiteable that the Phantom Lancer could just kill everything around him, because Era couldn't actually get into the fights and do damage. So overall, I think that Fnatic had a good aggressive lineup, but they didn't really utilize it properly. So we'll have to see what they want to try and do this game instead.
Well, of course, Alliance going to get first pick here in game number 3, and the side of switch once again. So Fnatic, they're going to go ahead and take out the Wisp, as Alliance decided to take out the Lone Druid. So of course, losing Admiral Bulldog, why not ban out the Lone Druid? Don't give the opportunity to give it to Fnatic, give it to somebody like Trixie, who is very, very capable on the hero as well. So in general, Fnatic typically have an aggressive style. They don't like to let people just sit back and do whatever it is, but that last game, they felt almost just... They felt so passive to me, way more than I've ever seen them before. So I'm thinking that they might stick to something that they can actually do stuff with, because they didn't necessarily have the greatest initiation heroes last game. I mean, yeah, they had the puck, but they put him in a position where he's all the way on the other side of the map. When you're mid, it's easier to rotate to 2 different lanes as opposed to just having to teleport. And of course, there is some shadowing right now, if anybody can actually see it on the minimap. It's actually kind of hard to see because of the lighting.
You can see it a bit, though, but yeah.
Not bad, Bruno, not bad.
It's good.
Okay, nobody knows what that was. It just looked like a hand to me, but Batrider going to be banned out here, of course, by Alliance. Now Fnatic, they're going to be looking to take out one more.
Yeah, it feels like they might want to try, since the Wisp is being banned out, they should maybe try and go back to something of a Storm lineup. They usually like to run a Storm Nyx lineup, or just a Nyx overall, because they run that really, really well, and Era is very good on that hero as well. Just getting something that they're really comfortable with, because the Tiny, I mean, they played it out well, but how often do they actually play Tiny compared to Storm, Nyx, Puck, and heroes along those lines?
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I don't think I've had an opportunity to see Era play Tiny at all, at least in the Dota 2 Dreamhack Invitational. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to say. I think that Era is one of those players who a lot of people kind of peg him for somebody who only plays the 3 to 5 hero pool or whatever. But I actually think he has much more potential than just that, but I do agree that playing a hero that you're not used to, it does put you in a pretty interesting situation. So Alliance, they're not looking for a long game. They do take up the Chen as the first pick here. The response from Fnatic so far is going to be Keeper of the Light, and I mean, Phantom Lancer is available if they want to just go straight for the jugular here in Game 3.
Yeah, the scary thing though at this point is that with Shen being the first pickup here, they can actually go for a Shadow Demon to just combo it up with the Shen.
Yeah.
Or they can go for a Rubik. They usually favor the Rubik a bit more, it feels like. I mean, the Shadow Demon is very good, but they really like to have that spell steal, and EGM is a really good Rubik player. So it could be very risky to at least pick the Phantom Lancer in the first two. Could go for it as the third pick, depending on what Alliance wants to go for. But Alliance, they got a lot of heroes they can pick. They can go for, we've seen the Shadow Shaman together with a DK for push. And they can go for Rubik just to have the roaming set up, and they can go for pretty much whatever they want together with that Shen, because they're very versatile with the heroes that they pick together with it. But Fnatic's going to get a puck, which I do like a lot.
Well, it does kind of alleviate that situation you were just explaining with the PL, and of course being counterpicked by the Shadow Demon and such. So now Alliance have their choices open to them. They could go the LGD int style, which is pick a Chen with a Shadow Demon anyway, and just potentially go for some very aggressive roaming. But when you see a puck out from Fnatic this early, there's a good chance it's going to be No-Tail playing it. There's a good chance that it's going to be mid. And a Shadow Demon Chen is a very good roaming composition, but it's still really, really hard to kill somebody like a Puck, and Shadow Demon is one of those heroes who you want to be using aggressively, and they decide to just go with the Leshrac anyway after picking up the Magnus. So there's a good chance we're going to get to see maybe Ixu play Magnus for the second game. His impact in Game 2, it was pretty good. It wasn't fantastic, but he pretty much accomplished what he needed to do.
Yeah, I mean, the early game or the mid game was quite good, but then in the late game, he didn't really have too much of an impact. He got a good RP in the base, but it was pretty much...
5 seconds remaining.
It didn't really seal the deal because they already sealed the deal before it. It was more like a good RP to get out. So it wasn't bad by any means, but he didn't really have that impact throughout the game that we usually see S4 have on that mag. So we'll have to see if Ixu is going to play that once again, or if S4 is going to pick it up for mid instead, and then they throw out Ixu on the long lane. But picking up the Lesh with the Shen is just pointing towards a very aggressive pushing lineup.
Well, that push that you're talking about right now, Fnatic, they have a Keeper of the Light and a Gyrocopter. You can even do something like skilling Flag Cannon at level 1, just get Illuminate, and counter push ridiculously well against those types of heroes. And the Leshrac has to get to a tower without any creeps near it for Edict to really get its pushing potential done. So Fnatic could potentially look to aggressively tri-lane here. And like you were talking about in Game 2, Keeper of the Light is really, really nice for contesting the pull. You can just blast it from long range, you don't put yourself in any immediate danger, and you can just give yourself extra golden experience that other supports might not have the opportunity to do. So Fnatic, they have a pretty rounded lineup, I would say, so far. Against a hero like Magnus, though, we still haven't seen what Alliance's carry is going to be just yet, and what kind of implications that's going to have. Like, are they going to go for the PL anyway on the side of Fnatic, possibly go to put the Gyrocopter in the top lane and aggressively lane that, or what do you think is going to happen here?
It feels like that since we're seeing the DK being banned out straight away, which isn't too surprising, and then of course we're having the Luna being banned out as well, the common pushing heroes together with the Shen, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Alliance maybe trying to pick up an Alchemist. Just that follow-up in the Mag RP is so good. And then you have the Empower they can get as well to get the cleave damage out. But just to follow up with the Concoction Stun, if you can hit that together with the RP, it's just going to do so much damage. And then you have the Acid Spray under. And it's going to help push as well, since you have your Chemical Rage, so you can actually tank the tower, and then the Edict can do damage if you want that too. So we could see an Alchemist being picked up by Alliance, and then of course a last offlane hero, whatever they want to go for pretty much. I don't really know at this point what they should try and go for, if there should be anything special. Maybe go for something like a bounty, but yeah, Spectre is going to be the last ban out, which is a bit surprising, though Alliance likes to use it, so we're going to see a bounty for Alliance.
I like the choice of Bounty Hunter, just because the heroes like Keeper of the Light, especially Gyrocopter, it makes it easier to close the gap. You don't get kited nearly as bad in these engagements, and once they get up to BKB on that hero, there's not really much on the side of Fnatic that he necessarily has to worry about until of course, that gyrocopter starts getting some serious farms. So seeing a hero like that, it does show that Alliance do want to be aggressive here. They want to, at the very least, try to take some early game towers if they can, try to abuse track, try to be, well, as aggressive as they possibly can be without paying too much for it. But again, Fnatic, they have a great lineup for defending their towers. I mean, Call Down, Dream Coil, a lot of spam between the puck, and of course the Illuminate and Chakra are the Keeper of the Light. And Fnatic, they're going to go with the Shadow Shaman. This is something that actually Dignitas does quite often. When you have a feeling that your opponent is not going to be laning against your tri-lane, you pick a hero who doesn't necessarily have the greatest lane presence, but in the mid-game, Shadow Shaman is unbelievably strong as a support.
Yeah, and the counter push is just getting stronger and stronger for them at this point. So it really depends on what Alliance wants to go for, because with the Shen, even though you want to go for an aggressive push, they can for sure just rotate into something more of a mid-game team-fighting lineup with this. They don't actually have to push just because Fnatic got so much counter push, because with the bounty, they can just get some good tracks out and then see if they can pick someone off. And yeah, we'll really have to see what they want to go for last, but I do actually think that an Alchemist wouldn't be a bad choice, especially with the track. He's going to be able to stick on targets as well, getting the extra movement speed. Wouldn't be that bad. So we'll have to see what I want to try and go for, though.
Well, one more coming out of Alliance here, and hopefully the next minute or so. Of course, they have reserve time after that. But I do like Fnatic's lineup here quite a bit. Not only do they have great team fight, they have quite a bit of disable now because of the Shadow Shaman pickup. Their ability to push towers increases significantly with a Shadow Shaman. You usually see heroes like Lone Druid picked in that role, where somebody who can just walk up to the lane and just kill a tower. That's kind of what Shadow Shaman does in the same regard. Sure, they had a nice push before that and counter push, but they didn't have anybody who could necessarily just say, okay, well, you're not going to contest our push, we'll get the tower that much faster. And if Fnatic get a tower without the Shadow Shaman using his wards, then you could potentially just push another tower straight afterwards. So he's a very dangerous hero, regardless of whether or not he's played as a mid or a support. I actually know that NoTail back in Han, he used to play a Shadow Shaman mid all the time. Of course, he wasn't actually called that in Han, but I think we're probably going to be seeing his puck here in game number 3. But still, Alliance, they are definitely taking their time here. They have things like, actually Lifestealer is still available, but they don't have anybody necessarily besides a Blink Mag who you can necessarily jump into.
Yeah, so that's true that they don't really have.
Whoa.
Wow.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Let's look at Fnatic's lineup right now. 3 heroes who actually have to use a pretty good chunk of mana and all int to be able to do their damage. I will say this firsthand. Pugna ward against Shadow Shaman, it's not fun to play Shadow Shaman against that hero. You drop your wards and you lose like half your health.
And like all your mana.
Yeah, it's
a really nice pickup for the last, but I wonder if, are they going to use the Bounty Hunter as the farmer then in bottom lane? Is that going to be the farmer to get a fast level 6 and then just put pressure on the towers? Or are they going to try and use the mag as the farmer? That's the big question for me.
Well, Klinks is going to be the last pick out here from Fnatic, and Bruno is panicking right now as he can't find the proper Magnus to put up on the board. But I'm excited, man. Being able to see a Pugna coming out of Alliance. Klinks, yeah, he's probably a little bit more common as everybody just disconnected from the game. So
basically, what?
I'm not exactly...
basically, Fly DC'd before.
Oh, okay, so it's not going to be a Klinks, it's an SD.
Wait.
Yeah, they said it was going to be a Shadow Demon because the drafter of their team actually crashed. And yeah, we have to remake because somebody crashed out of the game. So what we have to do is we're going to have to rehost really quick as all pick. But the last pick wasn't Klinks, by the way, just so everybody's clear on that. It was a Shadow Demon, but one of the players actually disconnected.
Or wasn't it a Shadow Demon instead of the Shadow Shaman?
Oh, was it?
It might have been, actually. Well, I'm sitting like the top.
Yeah.
Well, it still could have been played as a
support. It could have been Shadow Shaman mid, though.
Really?
Come on, man.
Well, it's like NoTail and Sting are the pioneers for the Shadow Shaman mid from the Han days. So it's like, it's not impossible for it, but, well, we'll have to see.
I would actually really like to see a Shadow Shaman mid.
It would have been really
It's like a blast to the past.
Yeah.
Going back a year and a half ago.
Maybe even longer? Has it been that long?
Yeah, it was before Evoker, actually.
Yeah.
I think Evoker moved Shadow Shaman away from the metagame.
Yeah, most of the times. I think we've seen it once, or I casted one game, I believe it was a Star Ladder or something like that, maybe we play, where I believe AO used it,
How did it
But
go?
other than that, no, they lost. But
It's like, how they do? Oh, it wasn't good.
no, but other than that, we haven't really seen it for a long time. So it's gonna be interesting if it was actually a Shadow Demon for the last support and then a Shadow Demon mid. But
I
we'll
thought
have
that's
to
what
see.
they said. Maybe I misread it. Well, either way, we're going to find out. I mean, they know what they wanted to pick, so
yeah,
it's not really a big deal. And
Well-
of course, the last pick, Pugna. We got to talk about that too.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean-
I mean, if you, I'm looking at the draft right now, like with the 2-minute delay, I see Pugna, Leshrac, and Chen, and also the Magnus, which is not a great pusher, but can create clear the whites really fast and create
Yeah.
space so that you cannot go and physically defend the towers, because because you'll get inskewered into RP. I mean, he's a really good hero for zoning people. I have no idea how they're going to lane this. Like,
Puck long lane,
I have to
Shadow
imagine.
Demon mid.
no.
He's talking about-
NoTidehunter.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
they're
that's,
going to put Pugna mid. I can't really see anywhere
So
else.
it's-
and
It
I
feels
think-
like S4 is gonna play the Pugna mid.
Like farmer.
I think Farmer Bounty, to be honest, and then Mag going for the long lane instead.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be the biggest, or that's what they want to try and get for, and then get a fast level 6 on a Bounty, and just try and roam around and try and create as much space as possible.
I mean, the thing is it feels like a waste to put Bounty Hunter against that offlane because they can kill him. I mean, they can actually kill him with an Observer because Shackle and Rocket Barrage and Illuminate, no hero can live through that at level 1. So, and there's no reason for the Shadow Shaman to get any other ability. Of course, that's assuming that hero's even picked. So we're kind of just speculating at this
Well,
point.
the thing is that even if if a bounty hunter can't survive, there's no much guarantee that a Magnus can survive as well. Like, of course, you have Skewer, which is a way to get out, but as you said, once you get Shackle, they're pretty much done. Even
Yeah.
if you know that you will not get the full duration of the Shackle, all you have to do is just stand. Oh, I'm losing magnets. God damn it. All you have to do is, when you Rocket Barrage, just stay ahead of Magnus, so if he skewers, he takes you with him.
Yeah.
And you just finish him off. So it's going to be tough. Whoever has to play this lane, if it's a bounty hunter, if it's the Leshrac, maybe they even sack it. Who knows? Like, I've seen
It's
Magnus-
probable that they could. Double jungle is something that a lot of people are starting to do nowadays. And by the way, your Keeper of the Light is drunk. You should probably fix him.
You're drunk, keeper.
But
Shadow Shaman is a bit drunk as well.
we're still waiting on people from Fnatic to reconnect, by the way. Fly apparently is having some issues of his own now. So Admiral Bulldog earlier with the disconnects. And now we're going to have Fly from Fnatic.
Yeah. But what's I'm not seeing the screen. Like, is he not connecting because he's?
No, he's just not in the lobby.
He's not in the lobby, they remade.
Asked the players.
Well, they said that he crashed, so let's ask right now. Let's see. Okay. ETA on Fly. Oh, here he goes. Okay, he's back in.
Oh.
So
There you
Trixie is currently not taking a spot right now, but he will be doing so in just a second, so we'll be able to bring you guys Game 3. It's rehosted, all pick. We're going to get to see whether or not it was supposed to be a Shadow Demon, or if it was supposed to be a Shadow Shaman, or what the heck the deal was. Yep, everyone's ready to go, so we're going to go ahead and just
Oh.
do...
Yeah.
Wait. What hero we do? Just...
Yeah, they're gonna do picks in the lobby. I think that's easier.
Yeah, okay, so... Well, that's going to be a little uneventful for everybody.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. If you run out of
feels
time.
like a wasted redraft.
When did he
the whole-
DC then?
Well,
Huh?
Like, when did he DC?
I think he DC'd for the Shadow Shaman pick, but I'm not sure.
They pick Sven as the fourth.
Fourth pick, Sven.
wait. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, so no Shadow Shaman, Sven.
No Shadow Shaman. Okay. Bye bye.
And then the fifth pick of
It's got to be a
NoTidehunter.
support gyrocopter then, I would imagine, right?
Yeah,
I guess could be a support Sven, but probably a support.
probably not. Probably we'll see that era playing on. Or it
And
depends.
what's,
Gyro
what's
could
the-
be mid.
Was it a Clinks, the last pick? Get it. You can get it.
Well, they haven't done it yet, so they're redrafting from this point. So they're basically just going to sit in the lobby and decide what the picks are. And there's only 4, so I mean, it's like they'll get it out probably really
Was the
quickly.
Pugna misclick as well?
No, I don't think so. But they might actually change their mind after seeing that change up because not having a Shadow Shaman, Pugna is like really good against that hero.
Mm-hmm.
But now Pugna doesn't seem that good
Exactly.
with the farming Sven.
Yeah,
So we're probably going to see a little bit of change up in the draft. So it's
probably
unfortunate
a
that
proper carry.
today's semifinals have just been
Yeah, it's been delayed a bit,
a bit.
tiny bit.
So we're still
It's like-
waiting on the next pick here from Alliance. They're taking their time.
4 hours in after 2 games.
Yeah.
It's tiny bit.
I mean, honestly, we could have just rehosted the CM and just had them pick the heroes they knew they had, and then just go, so at least people could get a chance to see it
true.
for themselves, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, right now, we're basically just sitting here with a lobby hosted that we're telling everybody what's going on, but at the same time, it's like,
Well, it's
not
like
the
what's
greatest.
happening with them
Something in
now.
the
They,
chat.
So the thing that actually sucks about doing it this way is that there's no time.
we went back like 5 years in Dota. Drafting on paper.
Yeah. Okay, so Alliance next pick is going to be Lifestealer.
Can't rush picks.
Okay, which one?
Lifestealer.
I
Life
guess
sti-
instead of the bounty, because that
no,
was
instead of Pugna, because they were first pick.
Instead
So
of
their
Pugna.
last pick was a Nikes.
It's a live stealer.
feels like 48B picking in the lobby, taking 2 hours.
Thank you, Trans.
Sounds legit.
So live stealer here. Now this makes more sense.
Yep.
Much more sense.
It's not in jungle.
No, it's I know. He's just getting there. He's slow, man.
Yeah.
Slow.
Sorry.
Well, we talked about the Lifestealer opportunity before, but that, of course, is before the Shadow Shaman came about, and then we started
I'm not
to
sure
see
if you
things.
still
that-
want to contest the trialing with this against that.
Weaver.
And they go for Weaver last.
So it's not a Clinks, it's a Weaver.
All right, so it's AP.
So support Gyro then.
Have fun.
What?
Here we go.
The game's starting again, guys, just so you know. And the Weaver is going to be the last pickup. We are hosting all pick, so everyone's going to be able to actually just get their stuff right away. Make sure everybody reconnects to the game. I really wish I knew what that bug was, because sometimes people just like to go AFK, and then we have to wait even longer. But we should be able to get everything sorted for you guys here in just a second. Again, it's Fnatic versus Alliance, game number 3 of the first of many, many more Dota games to come today. And I'm joined by Weapons again, the ever-patient man.
Yes, I'm very patient. Or not. Not really. I'm like the most impatient person ever.
It's okay, though, because... Actually, it's not okay anymore because you said that. But if you didn't say that, everyone would have believed you.
True. He can't.
Oh, jeez.
This day is like perfect because we only got 8 games left if we get the full series, which I hope we do. So we only got about 8 hours of Dota left for everybody tuning in.
Brace yourselves. Take it easy.
Take it easy, he says. Take it easy, he says. You know, with all due
Isn't that what it
respect,
says on the back?
we're the
of-
ones filling the time. You sit over there with your fancy shirt, and you move your playthings around.
And I'm more effective than you at filling time up.
That's good, though, because I don't want to do it.
yeah.
Okay, well, bring the camera. I'll make some...
I was gonna say don't panic.
Well, the
because
the
that's
game
what it
started
says.
anyway, so there's no point. I mean, he just connected as we were yelling
Throw him
at
up
each
on the
other.
mat. Just throw him up. Just sit there and throw him up.
Can Bruno actually juggle?
That's a question. That's a good question. Bruno, next. Yes,
Yeah, they're all in the
picking their
game. It's all
heroes.
pick. Everyone's got their heroes. Life is good. Kanka, Vengeful Spirit, and I don't know what the third one was, but
I'm juggling. I'm juggling.
no one sees it.
No one believes you, Bruno. Pick or didn't happen. So we're finally in the game. People are picking their heroes. Like I said, Sven, as well as Weaver, being the last 2. So we got a what?
The lineups seem drastically different from before,
Oh,
by the
so-
way.
Wait,
I mean,
what?
This is correct.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm just surprised with who picked what and whatever, you know. Like with how. Yeah, we can go over the lineups and you'll see what I mean.
Yeah, let's just go over the lineups so everyone's on the same page. And of course, it's going to be Fly playing on the Keeper of the Light. Puck is going to be handled by No Tail. Era's going to be taking up reins on that Weaver. Gyrocopter going to be played by Trixie. And then finally, we're going to have Hani playing on the Sven. So, take it away for the Alliance.
Yep, on the Alliance side, we got S4 playing that mag, one of his trademark heroes. EGM playing on the Lashrak, Loda picking up the Lifestealer. Ake playing his, pretty much the most known hero he's playing is Shen. And then of course Ixu playing that Bounty Hunter. Most likely gonna rotate up to the long lane, but they're just having everybody down here. But what I was surprised about is Era actually playing the Weaver and
Yeah.
Trixie playing the Gyrocopter, because usually it's Trixie playing the Weaver in the long lane and then Era plays either the Sven hard carry or the Gyro hard carry, so that was a bit surprising for me, but Trixie might just go up to top lane and play solo safe lane against the Bounty Hunter on that Gyrocopter.
Yeah, it appears it is going to be an aggressive tri-lane, and against a Chen, especially, I love putting Weaver in this position, because it's pretty much impossible for Alliance's tri-lane to score a kill on him. Like, there's just really no way they can do it. And Shukuchi in the early game, the damage that you can do with it is insane. Like, it scales so well. You're going to have a rank and a Geminate. You're going to have Swarm. You could potentially even tower dive in that situation, because it's basically Ixu down here by himself. And you can see, look at the map right now from Alliance. Their entire jungle is just eaten by wards. So they forced Alliance to go to the top lane. It's going to be an offensive Chen, and how often do we see that?
Yeah, usually only LGD International actually plays that offensive Shen, but I still like that decision because they knew that the only reason why they ran in, oh, they're going to go on Trixie straight away.
Yeah, top lane, Trixie completely caught out here by the open with the Centaur Stomp. That's going to be your first blood. And give it to EGM, but still, I mean, the movement coming out so far from Alliance, definitely very, very good. S4 could be in some trouble mid, get Illuminate and the Storm Bolt to follow up, and that's going to be a quick follow-up kill. It looks like both supports from either side going to be pretty happy with that, as Fly actually managed to get the kill on S4 mid.
Yep, so really good counter kill. I'd say that was a bit more in the favor of Fnatic, of course. Getting your mid hero, an early assist or an early kill, getting the extra gold is really good against the other mid hero, and just killing off the other mid hero is so good. But Fnatic's going to rotate their supports up, which is going to be good for them. But like I was pointing out early on, though, I really like the decision because the only reason why Alliance or Fnatic actually moved in,
wow, nice deny,
actually moved into Alliance jungle was just to ward up as much as possible. So they put out 4 wards in the jungle. They got rune control, or they got a rune ward for bottom, of course, because of that ward. But AK is going to beat the Storm Bolt, and it's a follow-up damage, but it's not going to be enough. But anyways, it's just that they pretty much used all their wards straight away in their in the offensive jungle, and I could just move up into their jungle instead to be getting some damage.
Honey could be in some trouble here. Edict doing a ton of damage. Yeah, he's just going to die. Dodges a stun, but doesn't really matter. EGM manages to pick up yet another kill for himself, so he's 2-0 so far. So you can see S4 are going to be fortuitous enough to bottle up his regeneration. So in the middle lane, this matchup is pretty even. I mean, you shockwave spam for CS. If you're S4, you can use your orb if you want to, if you're no-tail, and just continue to last hit that way. But the thing is, I feel a lot more comfortable for Alliance seeing S4 on the mag. And not to take anything away from Ixu in the last game, but it's like, it does make a difference to have somebody like S4 playing it in comparison to his stand-in, because he has a better idea of how his team plays. And typically when he plays mag, he's very similar to how he is in Batrider. He finds those openings.
Yeah, he's really good at finding really good RPs and just getting kills and being a bit more active. Even though Ixu played it very well the last game, he was still not as active as S4 usually is when he plays that mag. So it's good for Alliance to have their proper mag player actually play it. And Bounty, even though it's very good to have a player that actually knows to play it really well, he's still like, if you get the tracks out, that's pretty much what you need to get out. Then you can play it even better, of course, but the tracks are the big thing that you want to try and get out.
I'm really curious to see, oh, middle lane. Shockwave actually misses on No-Tail. He's going to get stunned right after the phase shift. There's a skewer. No-Tail going to be dropping here. And S4, of course, did miss that Shockwave, but it just simply doesn't matter. So the movement so far out of Alliance just a little bit better so far than Fnatic's. They're currently up 3-1 in kills.
Yeah, which is really good rotation coming out of Ake. And it's going to help create some more room for S4 in mid, which is a bit surprising that he's so far ahead of No-Tail, or he's only 6 last hits, which isn't that much, but it's still ahead of No-Tail, even though No-Tail got a free lane at the start when they managed to kill off S4, and Hani's going to pick up the haste room and the knight from S4, forcing him to go to the lane, even though he actually pushed up the mid lane, so didn't lose too much experience.
Well, I gotta say, at least in the early game, oh, bottom, wow. Ixu is so unbelievably low at the moment. He actually got dusted as well from Era, so definitely trying to apply as much pressure as possible. And forcing out the short laner, especially right now, that's a really big deal, because he's really close to 6, and that's going to be more time that Alliance doesn't have track. And meanwhile, middle lane, we're also going to see S4 in a lot of trouble. Not sure if he's going to be able to get away from this one. The bottle tick, he bottles once again, and Hani's not actually able to kill him. Unfortunately, He has Warcry, but he doesn't have boots.
Wow. Yeah, the Harpy
the
from
Harpy.
Ake actually managed to get the kill on Puck, so another really good pickup kill, or kill picked up by Ake on that Shen, so really showing off his Shen play here.
At top lane, Alliance once again sitting here at the tower like they want to try to engage. Did they actually? Oh, they do have a creep. It's going to be the Satyr, actually. Not the best creep for tower diving, but with the open wounds, with the stun. Oh, they're going to spot Trixie. There's the open wounds and a stun. Actually going to miss. Trixie going to be able to do quite a bit of damage to EGM before he eventually does fall. Ake ends up getting the kill, but Alliance, man, they are just everywhere right now.
Yeah, the rotation so far has been really, really good, and they're just putting pressure on pretty much every lane where they have to put pressure, because you don't want to keep the gyrocopter free farming, especially when you have a Nyx on that lane. That you really want to be able to get the Nyx, or let the Nyx get as much farm as possible. The only lane where they're not actually keeping any pressure is in bottom lane, because it's so hard to kill off Era, especially now when he's level 6. Even though they got track, he's still got time lapse, so he should be able to get away without any problem whatsoever.
Yeah, they pretty much need to spend an RP to kill him, if that's the way they want to go about it. And S4, he's going to find an illusion rune here. Not sure if that's necessarily the best case scenario for him, but he might try to go for this. I mean, Ixu does have 2 ranks in that Shuriken toss. S4 is going to come. Can he get the RP off in time? He does hit the skewer as well. Inishikuchi, good night, Era. Very nicely done there from S4. I can't believe he actually hit the skewer with Era being Shikuchi. It almost feels like he ran into it.
Yeah, that was a bit weird, but a really, really good pickup from Alliance, and they're just keeping their really strong rotation.
Trixie, EGM going to get counter stun out from Hani before the Split Earth actually goes off. Will he be able to stun in time? No, it misses once again. This is going to be a turnaround from Fnatic, and desperately needed, I might add. EGM juking to the side of the woods. He will be able to get the Edict off before he dies. Can Loda block him in to keep the Edict damage going? It doesn't seem like he's going to be able to. Hani currently trying to run away, but it's not going to matter. Nice double Stormbolt, though, and the Illuminate comes off. Manages to pick off one of the heroes on the side of Alliance. Now Era actually running here under the tower as well. He is teleported in. Trixie taking so much damage. Here comes the call down. Is it going to be enough? No, the rage is there from Loda, and everyone actually survives. Where is Darkcopter's health bar? S4 picks off. Wait. No, he didn't actually pick him off. Era is still alive. Okay, Era dodges the shockwave once again. Okay, all those heroes were so low, I actually thought there were more deaths there than actually occurred. That was insane. More shockwaves being thrown out just in case, but oh, we're going to see NoTail actually coming from behind the tower, throws at the Dream Coil, stun's going to be off the mark. NoTail going to get shockwaved, and no, S4's going to still live, and NoTail goes down. EGM eating a stun, and Hani gives away another kill. Loda picks up a double. Suddenly, 5 versus 5, all top.
Like, what even happened there? That was just such a weird fight, but in the end, still Alliance being the ones coming out on top, or not really coming out on top. I can't really say. It was 3 for 3, I think.
I think they're trying to make up for the low kill count last game.
Yeah, I mean, they were playing pretty passive. I mean, what, like 40 minutes last game? There were like 26 kills or something like that? Well, now it's an 8-minute game,
Start 5.
and there's 13 kills.
Yeah. But that was a 3 for 3 in the end, I believe. But Loda getting a double kill. But I believe that Era even got a double kill as well. So, like, both the carries
I thought
that are
Trixie
getting
was
farmed.
dead. I thought Trixie was dead during that engagement. Like, I just completely dismissed
Yeah, it was
him.
like 5 HP or something.
Yeah, he had absolutely no health. S4 lived? Like,
I don't know, man.
NoTail comes from behind the tower, drops a Dream Coil. The stun misses. NoTail still dies, and S4 lives. Like, that was just mind-blowing. But Ixu middle lane, going to spot out NoTail. Do they want to try to go for the RP? He's quite close right now if he wants to try to use it. He's going to skewer in. Oh, the phase shift was used! S4 gets the RP. That's going to be a track kill. That was definitely a mechanical mistake by NoTail. Typically, you don't see people using their orb to farm this late in the game.
Yeah, especially when he used the phase shift to dodge the skewer there.
Yeah.
If he would have just been skewered and then popped the phase shift straight after, he could have been able to dodge the RP, but that was a very easy kill for them just because the way he used his phase shift there. So another good pick-off kill and another track kill. So the gold is going to really skyrocket the way of Alliance if they keep getting these track kills.
Well, Loda left pretty much alone in this top lane so far. Air on the bottom lane also going to be taking some harassment here. He is tracked up, and we're going to see him getting at it, and he still has that time lapse, but huge burst damage coming out. He will get tracked once again. He's also going to be dusted, but yeah, he's just way too fast. There's no way they can kill him.
He dusted.
Oh, he dusted. Never mind. Yeah, okay. Weird. Oh, yeah, that's right. He did have one more dust after landing phase, didn't he? Top lane, you can see the coil go off. Loda going to get bursted. The Chenio comes out, though. He managed to get the rage off. Can he break the tether in time before the rage wears off? Looks like he can. He does have level 4 of that rage, so of course it lasts for a whole 6 seconds, which is quite long. And this game, man, it doesn't seem like either team really want to let it go on that long. They both just want to fight.
Yeah, they really want to try and put pressure because they know that both their heroes, or all their heroes they have that are farmers, are really mid-game centric. So if they can keep one of the opponent's heroes down, they're going to get the advantage in the mid-game. Because Gyro is going to be really strong in the mid-game. Weaver, with the farm he's getting, is going to be really strong in the mid-game. So if Fnatic can keep down either the Mag or the Lifestealer, they're going to get the upper hand in the mid-game. And the other way around for Alliance. If they can keep the Weaver or the Gyro down, they're going to have the upper hand in the mid-game.
Well, so far it's 10-4 in favor of Alliance here in game number 3 between these two teams. And I gotta say, more action than I was expecting, at least in this stage. And I think, honestly, warding the entirety of Alliance's jungle has backfired for Fnatic because they simply weren't ready to take on the aggressive Chen. They didn't really have the lane for it. It could have been a lot better if they just did the original Weaver tri-lane, which we were kind of expecting them to do, and be able to contest the pole, keep Ixu from being able to farm, or the Lifestealer if it was going to be him instead, if, of course, Alliance were to rotate that hero to the top lane. So there were a lot of variables this game. And it doesn't really seem like Fnatic has been on the beneficial side of those variables.
Yeah, like you said, he's using
S4 screwing into tower range. He will hit Fly with a shockwave, but Hani going to choose not to stun bottom lane. Era gets picked off yet again, and that's going to be a killing spree for Ixu. He is currently getting pretty much all of the gold for his team right now.
Yep, going for very fast Vlads as well, so if they can get some tier 1 towers now, getting some pushes with the Leshrac and the Shen going, they can secure quite an easy Roshan, and that's going to help them even more into the mid game.
No tail, middle lane still, and he's actually not maxed his Waning Rift this game. He decided to go for the max orb build. And I gotta say, I mean, he's 0-4 at the moment as a puck. Typically, No Tail has a much, much better performance on that hero than he has currently. And S4 has actually had like total room control this entire game. Loda going to be tower diving here. He does have EGM to back him up if need be, but of course Fly on the side of Fnatic is also here. And it's just overall, like, Fnatic don't really seem to have anything at this point. I mean, yeah, they have a couple of heroes getting some farm, but Alliance's team in mid-game is ridiculous. And, I mean, Fnatic's is too, to a certain extent, but they don't have anything like a reverse polarity, per se, that could just end a fight straight away. Coil is nice, Call Down is pretty nice, and Sven Stun is nice as well, but they have a Chen on Alliance to offset that damage, whereas Fnatic don't really have anything. They're just going to have to eat it.
Yeah, they have a Sven as well, or the Shen, not the Sven, but they got this the Shen, as well as the Lifestealer with the Rage. And Lifestealer in mid-game is just so strong, especially if he can get that armor up, because the damage he can put out is just massive. And with the Rage, he's going to dodge all the magic damage coming out of the side of Fnatic as well. So their mid-game is really, really strong at this point. And S4 is getting very close to his Blink Dagger as well on that mag.
Once he gets that, I would assume that Alliance are going to start taking some more fights. I think Fly probably knows that S4 is here. He kind of just walked into him, took some awkward pathing. And it's going to happen one more time. Fly doesn't seem to be any the wiser at the moment, though. He's going to go ahead and place a ward, maybe, up on the high ground? Nope. He's actually going to get auto-attack, skewered, and shockwave, though, and pretty much just get soloed by S4. EGM, fortunate enough to get in range to get some of that experience and gold. And Ake is going to go ahead and pop the heal, getting harassed down here by Era. So S4 manages to pick up his Blink. Puck, in the meantime, manages to kill the tier 1 middle lane. Could be in some trouble bottom, though. Ake taking quite a bit of damage, and he's going to actually use time-lapse. He's going to try to Chikuchi back on the tower. Centaur Stomp just barely misses. In the meantime, middle looks like No Tail is going to be dropping to EGM, as Trixie is able to chase some of Alliance back with that call down. Looks like RP was used to get the kill on Puck, so we'll see if Alliance is able to make anything happen off of that. But honestly, I think Fnatic probably got the better of that exchange just because they forced the hand of God. Sure, you lost your Puck, but they managed to get a tier 1. Era going to be tracked here in the bottom lane. Dark Shore Warlord still chasing him down. See if they can manage to get a net off. Starhammer is going to come out from Hani to stop the progress of Ixu, and everyone's just going to go ahead and fall back.
Yep. Like you said, they managed to force the hand of God, as well as getting the Shen, which is really good. Stopping him from getting closer to a mechanism. He is quite close at the moment, but he's still about 950 gold away from finishing off that mech. But S4, he's got his Blink Dagger now. And no, Ake's even closer. He's actually got the headrest on the courier, so he's only about 300 gold away from finishing that mechanism. But like I said, S4 with a Blink Dagger is going to be very good for them.
We'll see how well they can utilize it. Of course, S4 known for his Magnus, among other things. Obviously a very good all-around mid player. And this Bounty Hunter is actually performing a lot better than I thought he would given the situation. Sure, a Weaver versus a Bounty. The Weaver doesn't necessarily just crush you. It's difficult for the Bounty Hunter, but it's manageable. And he's done a really nice job this game so far. He actually has a full Vlad's completed. Here come Era and Hani in the bottom lane, though. EGM is just totally... there's no way. He's just going to get hit by pretty much everything here. Gets stunned out, off in the middle of nowhere. Even with the track, doesn't matter. Ixu not really able to do much to help, and Fly was also there with the Illuminate back up. But middle, though, double damage on S4. Trying to push down this tier 1. As we're going to see Hani and NoTail also here to defend. So they don't lose a tower. They manage to get a free kill on the support. Not too bad.
It's really good for them, just getting the pick-off kills, since the pick-off kills is actually what Alliance wants to do. They want to try and get as many pick-off kills they want as possible with the Bounty Hunter, but as long as Fnatic gets those kills instead, it really stops the progress and the mid-game potential and the mid-game gold advantage of Alliance.
Well, Loda, sitting on top of his armlet, he's got 1,600 gold. Now, this is basically the crossroads. Does he want to go for the drums? Does he want to go for the SNY? Does he want to go for mobility and try to just take these mid-game team fights? Or does he want to go for maybe the harder carry-oriented build where he goes for the AC and the heart? Now, against heroes like Weaver, going mobility sounds like it would be a pretty good idea, but at the same time, it makes you really squishy against heroes like Sven. And even though Hani is not per se farming in this game, God Strength is still a huge chunk of physical damage. You still have to worry about the flat cannon from the gyrocopter, and Weaver also does physical damage on top of that. So I'm maybe leaning towards him going for more of a tanky build this game.
Yeah, tanky build wouldn't be too bad, since the Weaver doing a lot of damage with the bugs when he actually shoots them out, and then just his Gemini attack is really, really good as well. So his damage output is really good.
NoTail, he spots him out. He's not going to be fast enough, though. S4 manages to get a nice 2-man RP. The cooldown is going to be there coming out of Trixie. Fly, though, is he going to be able to do this? Looks like he will not be able to. Ixu managed to get him with a Shuriken as Hani is forced back into the base. Open wounds on Trixie as well. And Fnatic, they just don't really seem to have any team fight right now. As Alliance, it's only 17 minutes in. They're potentially poised to take this tier 2 and could even go for Roshan if they really want to. Although I suppose Fly will be up here very soon. Oh, here comes NoTail doing quite a bit of damage to load. A nice armlet, though. Going to keep himself alive for the time being. And NoTail's going to try to TP, but he gets skewered. He's going to go ahead and pop the phase shift. Era now going to get tracked up as well. He does still have his ultimate if he needs to use it. But no, Alliance are actually going to be forced back. So with as good of an engagement as that was, S4 with a pretty nice RP, they weren't able to actually get the tier 2 down.
Yeah, which is a bit sad for them, because that tier 2 could have really helped them to go for that Roshan, even though Fnatic got the tier 2 tower up in bottom, so they could actually contest it. It's still very nice to just get that tier 2 in mid, so they force everybody to TP in via bottom, which makes it take a lot longer for them and gives them a lot longer time to just kill off the Roshan. So good defense coming out of Fnatic, but still very good for Alliance to get those pick-off kills that they managed to get.
And we kind of have to bring this up too, especially because we're looking at it right now. But Trixie, he doesn't really have terrible farm, but at the same time, he doesn't have a completed item really, outside of his phase boots. I mean, he went for the Bracer. He's got an Ogre Club. He's got his Aquila, but he doesn't really have that much of an impact just yet. And going for a BKB against the team that Alliance has, I mean, you're basically just saying, I'm buying a BKB to prevent some nuke damage, and that's it. I mean, sure, Splitter Stun is kind of annoying, but you can still get RP'd. You can still get eaten alive by the Lifestealer inside of said RP. It's just a really, really difficult item choice for him to make, but I'm not entirely sure if going BKB straight is the right choice.
Feels like going for Yasha to be able to get some more damage, as well as even more mobility, since he's already gone for the face boots. And like you said, he's got the Bracer. Maybe we want to try and finish off the runs.
Oh, NoTail. He's going to spot the creeps in the high ground. Is he actually going to try to go in on this? No, he actually decides to blink away instead. And Hani going to be pretty fortunate himself that NoTail spotted out that smoke. But Alliance, they're playing aggressive, man. Oblivion Staff, by the way, on that lifesteal. So he's going, like you said, for the Orchid. I mean, this is a situation where An Orchid is actually amazing against heroes like Weaver before they get to Manta. It's amazing against heroes like Puck because he's not going to get a Manta. I mean, I guess you could get a Linken's, but that's just not something you normally see him get. It allows Loda to stick the target, give him pretty much as much regen as he'll ever need in terms of the mana department, and he can just stay active on the map all the time.
Yeah, and then he can go for a tankier item after that if he wants to. Maybe go for a hard, because his damage is still going to be there. Because he went for an Orchid instead of a Desolator, so he's still going to get some good damage. Because the Desolator is pretty much pure damage as well as pushing, while the Orchid, like you said, gets him some mana regen as well, so he can stick on the map all the time and just stay around and do loads of damage. So I really like the Orchid pickup though. Just it's so good against the Weaver at this point, especially with the item build that Aero went for. He's going to be far away from a Manta and even further away from the Linken's.
Well, he's been able to get a decent amount of farm, and Trixie is also farming quite well, but it's more like, I feel like Fnatic need a lot to actually fight. I mean, you have a Weaver, you have a Sven who benefits greatly from items, and you have a Gyrocopter who pretty much needs items. I'm starting to wonder if maybe Fnatic's lineup isn't necessarily bad in the sense of the lanes, maybe it's just too greedy.
Yeah, it feels a bit greedy actually going for that Sven support with the Gyro as well, and Gyro not really going for any damage items at this point, just going for a bit more tanky, trying to be able to survive fights more. But at this point, it's like you pointed out, the BKB is not really going to do that much, because Loda going for an Orchid, he's going to get the extra damage as well as attack speed, and he's just going to eat through the Gyrocopter.
Yeah.
So fast. And if he hits someone else, he's going to lifesteal up enough anyways, so he's going to be able to survive the flat cannon.
Well, Alliance currently sitting middle right now. Tier 2, of course, is already dead on the Fnatic side of the map for that Tier 2. You're going to see Trixie and Aero doing some counter pushing here in the bottom lane, but I think Alliance just might take this opportunity to probably Roche. Nope, they're not going to. They're just going to go ahead and force Fnatic off their side of the map. Trixie has a TP if he absolutely needs to use one, and yeah, they're going to spot him out. So, right now, Fnatic, it feels very similar to Game 2. They just don't have presence on the map. They have heroes who can potentially fight, but at the same time, they're just not really able to force anything.
Yeah, and the heroes that Alliance got is like, they're really good in the mid game, and they can be in those fights, but they're gonna get stronger in the late game as well. Especially Bounty Hunter, when he gets more items. At the start, he's just really, really good until he gets a BKB, because he can stay in the fights and just get tracks up. But even later into the game, he works more or less as a semi-carry, just because his damage output is going to be so huge with the Janata. And then of course you have the Mag as well, who's going to go for a Blink actually, or a BKB, so he's going to stay in fights.
Oh, Coil on the S4. This could be the turnaround they need. Calldown's going to be there. Stormhammer, the Chen heal is going to be enough to keep S4 alive. He gets mech'd just in time as he runs into Ake. Trixie now going to be dropping instead after the open wounds. Give Loda yet another kill. S4's coming in for round 2, basically. He's going to be able to skewer Hani a little bit away, slow him down a bit. Blinding Light coming out from the high ground, courtesy of Fly. And it's going to let Hani get back into the base. But, I mean, as crazy as that was from S4, he did have a haste. He managed to live, forced the Coil and the Silence, by the way. And now Alliance looking like they're poised to try to take this Tier 3 mid.
Yeah, and it's going to be very hard for Fnatic to stop this. They're going to use the fortification straight away. But as soon as that's down, the Edict is still going to do quite some damage, and they can just keep on pushing this.
Well, Era did manage to push the Tier 1 top in the meantime. He's now decided to make the return to the rest of his team. Load with a very nice rage timing. Open wounds on Hani. He's maybe going a little bit too hard on that as NoTail actually decides to go into the fight as well. But Hani quite low at the moment. Scarab's going to make contact on Loda. EGM popping the Edict. They really want to try to get this Tier 3. But the Illuminate is actually pushing him back quite a bit. Calldown's actually going to completely whiff. And currently all of Alliance sitting alive. Still EGM the lowest in the team by a little bit. Oh, nice deny. Coming out of Fly, manages to deny the Tier 3, but the Rax is currently under siege. There is no glyph up. They absolutely need Dream Coil for this fight, and they need Calldown as well.
Yep, and that being used, Silence actually going out, and
Tail.
Dream's gonna die.
Yeah, Era managed to pick him off. He is tracked, though. Needs to be a little bit careful. Here comes S4, though. He gets the RP on 2. NoTail and Trixie both stuck inside. Buyback from EGM. Are they going to be able to get it back in the fighting time? I'm not sure. Loda taking quite a bit of damage. The Aegis will eventually be popped. NoTail trying to chase down Ake. He does manage to blink forward, actually, and try to pick off S4. We're going to be unsuccessful. S4 actually does end up going down to Era near the Secret Shop. And now, I mean, they didn't get the racks just yet, and they are missing S4. And Ake, the poor guy, he basically has no health, no real mana to speak of. Can they actually take this Rax?
He's got Mechanism up though, and Hand of God is actually up in 20 seconds, so he can stay here as long as he stays back a bit. So melee Rax is still a possibility for Alliance at this point.
Well, the melee Rax still stands for the time being. Loda, though, kind of playing this a little bit aggressively. Will pop the Rage to stop the Stormhammer from doing damage. Era actually orc it out. He's going to be in some trouble. He just drops. There is no way he can live through that kind of damage. No tail. Going to be up in about 3 seconds here. And Loda he does not care, man. He's just sitting inside of Fnatic's base, farming mid by the Rax. It's fine. This is fine for him. The Illuminate's going to come through to do some counter pushing and do what it can, but looks like Alliance are going to eventually decide to fall back.
I might just try and go for this tier 3 tower and bottom instead. They got Hand of God up, but S4 is actually running up top. I was expecting him to actually TP it down to bottom and then try and go for another push, but they might just back out, go back to some farming, regroup, and go for the tier 2 and bottom instead, and try and re-push once again. But we'll have to see what they want to try and go for, since this is pretty much the point where you want to push with the Lifestealer, because he's the strongest at this point. He's almost level 16. He's only level 13, but he's getting closer to that level 16, and he's got his armlet up.
Yeah, you can see the gold advantage right now for Alliance. It is very, very high. Almost 12,000, actually. Experience getting close to about 7,500 at the moment. So, obviously, Alliance, with those track kills, they actually have a kill lead, and that is something that you never want to see against a team with the Bounty Hunters. You never want your opponent to be ahead of you in just pure kills. So, I mean, this particular match for Fnatic, it feels very reminiscent of, like I said, Game 2. They're not really able to apply any pressure anywhere. Maybe the lineup is a little bit too greedy with the Sven pick. It sounds kind of good on paper because you can throw out the stun. It does a reasonable amount of damage. And then, of course, you have Warcry. But I feel like you need more damage. And NoTail going to get orced out. He's going to try to TP. It's not going to work. And that's a gem. They just gave away a gem to a team who is already massively ahead.
Yeah, and I believe Ake actually got a gem on his own. So they got both the gems in the game at this point. But Ake's positioning in the fights have just been so good that even though he was low last time, he still wasn't really pressured that much. It was just a spam that got him low.
Well, Desolator completed here on Era. This could be the damage that he actually needs to be able to be a force in these fights, as Ixu is going to go ahead and track him up. And I mean, Weaver, his damage output isn't bad right now, but I feel like they kind of need more than that. They don't have an Aegis yet. Era's going to get RP'd, and Orchid, the damage isn't going to help him if he's just dead. S4, though, can be paying with his life. There's the Chen heal, and S4 is actually going to live for the moment. NoTail comes in with the silence, but of course, the BKB and S4 not going to do any damage. Loda not really that scared either, and NoTail not going to be in some trouble himself. There's going to be the Skewer, does end up getting the kill. S4 so incredibly low. He's going to get earned up. Nice rage out of Loda once again, disjointing that Stormbolt. EGM going to take some of the stun, but Rocket going to end up dying. And I think Fnatic, they could be looking at the end of the road here.
Yeah, and the tower is actually down in top as well, so Alliance can just go for the top racks if they want to rotate up. But it looks like they might just go for bottom tier 2 instead, hold up on everybody, and then try and go for another crack at the base. Unless they want to wait out the Aegis, of course, but just they saw their own sheer power in that fight, that they can just go for another base push.
Yeah, especially with that Chen heal cooling down relatively soon. Of course, they're going to have the mech about 15 seconds from now. And Ake, man, he is really farming for a Chen. I guess it's what happens when you have a Bounty Hunter on your team and you have a 12-kill lead.
Especially when you've been in 12 kills on the Shen as well. Having 10 assists with a Bounty Hunter on your team it's helping out quite a bit for Shen. And yeah, like you said, he's really farmed, and EGM on the other support is also very, very farmed.
Alliance feeling pretty confident here in game number 3. Fnatic still have quite a battle if they want to try to possibly take this series. And Trixie's got his BKB done, but, I mean, where's his damage? He just doesn't really do a whole lot. We're going to see a pause out here. Some more lag happening on the side of Alliance, but for the most part, it's like Era, he hasn't really done a whole lot. Yeah, he's got a handful of kills. He managed to clean up a decent amount during that engagement mid when they've managed to force Alliance back the first time. But I just really haven't felt it. And I mean, look at Ixer. He's got a Basher, BKB, Treads, and Vlad's, and it's 28 minutes in. I mean, that is a ridiculously farmed Bounty Hunter, and he's halfway to level 16.
Yeah, that's what I mean, though, with the Bounty Hunter going into more of a semi-carry role in the late game, because they gotta focus down the Lifestealer or the mag. That's like the two big heroes. But then you got a bounty hunter running around in the background, kind of like a storm. He's just running around because of the track kills. He's so fast, and he does so much damage. And then, of course, having the bash as well. If he gets a lucky bash on the Weaver, he's dead. It's like no way for him to get away from that.
We'll see how Alliance want to pursue the next couple of minutes of this game. See if they want to try to possibly wait out Roshan. It is actually about halfway up, so if they wanted to, they can. It's going to be difficult for Fnatic to engage at Roshan, even with potentially the greater AoE team fight, just because of how far behind they are right now. So, Alliance looking pretty darn good here in Game 3. Loda has a he's got a completed heart. So, it's not even 30 minutes in. He's got the Orchid, he's got the Armlet, he's got the heart, got a gem. S4, of course, showed off his BKB during the last fight. Everything right now from Alliance just seemingly coming together.
Colop.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, but the top 3 net worths in the game is actually on the side of Alliance at this point, so they're just so strong, and it's still mid-game. So they're going to be this strong for at least 20 more minutes without a problem, and they can just try and go for a push, because Fnatic's going to need at least 20-30 minutes before they get even close to how strong NoTidehunter is at this point. Like you see, the Sven doesn't really have anything. He's got 1 point into the Graded Cleave as well. And then you got the Weaver. He's got his Desolator, which is some nice damage, but he's still at 1200 HP. If he gets bashed or Orchided, he's just going to die instantly.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those situations where Fnatic are just playing defensive. They can't do anything else. They're going to rely on Dream Coil, Call Down, some Illuminate spam to be able to defend the base, maybe buy enough time to get Trixie and Era the items that they actually need to be able to take fights, but there's just so much of an advantage right now for Alliance. It's funny because if you look at the CS, the last hits, Fnatic are doing a better job of farming, but the fact that Alliance has such a kill lead with a bounty hunter, that's skewing the net worths just unbelievably in their favor, and it's a little bit buggy right now because one of the players is actually disconnected, but his net worth is actually probably one of the top, if not the top, in Ixu.
The second highest, I believe it is. 1200, something around that.
Yeah, but when you disconnect, it doesn't actually count your item gold, so he's sitting at a casual 1600. I don't really think, with all those items, that's accurate, because he's got quite a bit at the moment.
He's 7 and 0, so I think it's a bit higher, and now we can actually see it when he comes back into the game. So, yeah, they are very far ahead at this point. 15,000 gold as well as... I believe that's 15,000 gold, could have been 12. Can't really see. Yeah, 15,000 gold, 12,000 experience. So at this point, they're just going to go for the push up in top. And Fnatic don't have anything like a Prophet or anything like that to just counter push. So it's going to be hard for them. They got to win a few fights before they can get back to this. And at this point, it's going to be very hard for them to even win those fights.
Well, this is going to be the start. If they're going to come back in the game, Fnatic need to win this fight. They don't really have a choice. Loda, though, just unbelievably tanky. Going to be able to dodge that Illuminate. He has Empower, too. I mean, he hits for almost 300. 300. And that's, well, that was with the Armlet toggle on, actually. He's just going to turn it off right now. So if he doesn't rage, it's funny because when you get Empowered, you almost do more damage without raging just because of the cleave, especially if S4 manages to hit a nice reverse polarity. So if he wants to, he could probably face tank a pretty good deal of the damage. He is going to be blinded right here, taking some damage from the tower. Rocket's going to be there as well. But he doesn't really seem to care that much. He has Centaurs to infest into. If the Hand of God is going to come out here to save the creeps, he might try to do that. Nope, he's just going to let them die. So he's not really too concerned about keeping them alive for the moment. But they can do this slow siege. It doesn't matter if Loda takes damage because he's just going to regen it with the heart anyway.
Yeah, he's got 67 HP regen.
Yeah.
With the heart at this point. It's just like... I don't know, he's just so strong at this point. He's just going to start face tanking and doing damage. The Flat Cannon does a bit of damage. He's going to pop the Rage, just keep on putting pressure on this tower, and they're just going to, like you said, slow siege this down, and then just go for a throne, probably.
Well, they could potentially be going for a fake back right now. They completely leave the lane. There was a ward there, though, so I'm pretty sure they know about it, and I don't think Fnatic is going to be falling for it. They could be trying to go through mid, but there's also a sentry there. So, yeah. Sentry going to be taken out. I'm pretty sure Fnatic realized that Alliance do have a gem, so it's not going to be the sneakiest thing in the world. They're just going to walk right back into the tier 3, start hitting it. Loda popping the Rage. Tower's going to be dropping here. They do have a glyph. They're going to use it. So this is saying, like, Fnatic, They will have to defend this. If they don't defend this, you're going to lose your second set of racks, and you're potentially going to be going home here today.
Yep. And they're actually going to deny the tower, which is a bit surprising because even though they got the Illuminate spam, NoTidehunter can just, or Alliance can just go into the base right now. Just push in mid and then go straight for the racks. And Fnatic can't really do anything about it. They gotta get a perfect team fight pretty much.
We'll see if that perfect team fight is on the menu. Trixie going to be initiated on. He does have that BKB if he really wants to use it, but Loda's kind of just beating at him right now. There's going to be the war cry. It does help him get away for the moment. And the rest of Alliance going to fall back here for just a second. But now Trixie pretty much has to heal. There's no way he can fight with half health. It's just not going to be possible. Era tracked up. Rax going to be hit down here. No real contention so far coming out of Fnatic. Era's hitting him, but Loda just doesn't take any damage. No Tail's coming in, though. He will be able to get the coil off at least, but it's on Loda. I mean, how can they really engage that? Now Alliance, they're going to be feeling quite a bit better about this engagement. They don't have to worry about the coil coming out. Pretty much S4 can go on whoever he wants at this stage, and yeah, that's just going to be a melee rags taken. Fnatic just, they can't really fight. None of them do enough damage. They're going to orc it up on Era and the open wounds. Can they actually get him in time? And the Stormhammer's going to be there, and Era does manage to live. He gets the time lapse off. BKB pop by S4. He wants to try to go for a potential RP. He will manage it too, and Era and Fly. And I would expect that GG's to be coming out here any second. Hani pops the God Strength, but just simply not able to do enough. In the meantime, Loda picks off Trixie. Trixie buys back. Hani going to be dropping in the back as well. Another Orchid onto Era, and that's going to be Weaver dead 2 times in a row. There we go. Good game. Well played. And Alliance are going to the Dreamhack Dota 2 Invitational Finals with us.
Yeah, and just so well executed this game, and I'd say it pretty much came down to the start that they have with the early rotation coming out of Alliance, just moving up the Shen as well as the Leshrac to the offlane instead, and going into the aggressive jungle. Just because Fnatic used all their wards in that jungle. So they could just rotate freely from Fnatic's jungle, Alliance that is, down to mid, get ganks there, and then get ganks up in top again. Even though that they had the supports, Fnatic had their supports, they still got picked off. So just really well executed by Alliance, and we're going to take it 2-1.
A very, very nice performance, and I actually thought in the second game that Fnatic had a pretty good chance. You know, I was thinking to myself, they got a lineup with a lot of potential, they got a lot of mid-game. Didn't happen, kind of felt to be the same story. In game number 2, Fnatic just didn't really seem to bring what we expect them to in terms of aggressive potential. They kind of just let themselves get pushed around 2 games in a row. However, we are back, of course, inside the studio because that's going to be the end of the first semifinals today. But fear not, there's much more Dota to be had. As coming up next, we're also going to have Dignitas versus Team Liquid. And the winner of that, of course, will go and play Alliance in the grand finals. But we are once again joined by Bruno the Statman and Scriff, our dedicated observer. How'd you guys feel about game 3?
Well,
I feel good.
Yeah, I feel good. I feel good. Yeah, I feel good.
You knew that you would.
Yeah, I know. It seemed much more one-sided than the other 2 games.
Yep.
Pretty much, I think that we might have given Aki a touch of luck because his Chen, especially in the first 10 minutes of the game, was everywhere.
Yeah.
They got a couple kills on the pack, and I think that was a crucial thing. Even though the pack was, I think, on top of the CS for quite a long time in the game, he died 4 times in the first 15 minutes.
It was there for, yeah.
Yeah, and
like
that was
15
all
minutes.
about the Chen rotation, Leshrac as well sometimes. But I mean, it was all there, just harassing the pack and also harassing the Weaver, because you said it perfect. It's really hard for Chen to actually kill a Weaver.
Yeah.
But when you get a Troll Warlord, which was there, and the Stun Creep, and suddenly your Bounty Hunter was doing an excellent job because...
But they won all 3 lanes,
yeah,
pretty much.
Exactly. And the thing was that Weaver was always such low health because Shuriken spam from the Bounty Hunter, just the Jinata hits were always going for the Weaver. Chen, all he had to do is just jump there, bait the Shukuchi, dust and snare someone, and just a couple hits and Weaver would be dead. So with those 2 heroes out of the equation, what do you have left? You have the Gyrocopter, which was doing okay, but nobody in the lifestealer by any means. And the 2 supports, they just roamed, and they got something going in the mid lane. They got a gang, they were here at the moment. Illuminate. This is actually really cool. Keeper of Light was hidden behind these bushes, was charging the Illuminate so that Sven could jump with the stun and get the kill with Puck, which was really good. They attempted it a couple times, one time it worked perfectly. But we talked a lot about Magnus being one of these heroes that, of course, you don't want to die, but it doesn't really matter if you're not getting too much in the early stage. So of all the heroes they could have stopped, they stopped the most irrelevant. Bounty Hunter got a quick level 6, got some good items. At the end, he even had Vasher. I mean, he had lots of items that, yeah, I mean, you see on a Bounty Hunter, but he was getting way too much compared to the Weaver, for example.
As well as just the track hold in general, the supports got so much.
And that's the thing, when you have so much, he was critting for 600 damage. When you have so much, it's really easy to just lay trucks around, get a couple last hits, let your teammates have the last hits on the heroes, whatever. Everyone's so much richer, and the game is so much easier.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the bottom line, Fnatic played really, really well. They won game 1 pretty convincingly. They could have won game 2.
Yeah.
They lacked enough steam to actually make things happen in game 3.
The last oomph.
The last oomph, as he said. That takes us to NoTidehunter being our first finalists.
Yeah.
And
Alliance.
Alliance.
It's hard, man. Trust me. I mean,
I know.
I was doing the same thing.
Just to remember as well that Fnatic still got $1K.
Yeah, of course. Anybody who makes it to the semifinals, regardless of whether or not you lose, they're going to be going home with that money. So, unfortunate that Fnatic are going to be taking their leave in the Dreamhack Dota 2 Invitationals, but of course that does mean, as Bruno stated, Alliance are going to be awaiting the winner of our next semifinal matchup, which is going to be Dignitas versus Team Liquid. So, I think, before we do much pregame, I think everybody needs maybe a little bit of a break.
Yeah, we're going to make a little bit of a break, and then we're going to get an interview with the winners.
Yes.
And just we'll rotate the casters. It'll be James and I.
Okay, cool.
We both will be casting the next.
Who will join me?
Who will join? Well, it's up for grabs.
Can I be you and me?
You can be me.
You can be Edward Cullen.
Can come if you want.
Yeah.
And be you.
What?
You can be me.
If you want to.
Yeah, you're colorful enough to be me for a
Do
couple.
you want to be me?
Maybe.
He's wearing Christmas colors.
Yeah, I like him.
I'm going to go take a
I'm
nap.
actually gonna change my clothes for the finals.
It's going to be fancy. Fancy
Yeah.
guy. Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break, guys. We'll be back with a winner interview from one of the members of Alliance. But thank you guys again for watching. We'll be back soon with an interview and, of course, the next semifinals, which is going to be Dignitas taking Team Liquid on in just a bit.